Welcome back to the Radical Care for Christian Counselors podcast. And I am so excited. You guys, it is officially summer. If you're listening to this, it is June 2024. We made it through May. We made it through May. I don't know. Does everybody always think of that May song? It's gonna be May. Okay, me just cool. Okay, cool. Awesome. So, hey, if we haven't met already, my name is Bethany Boring. I am the founder of Step Out and Thrive LLC. And what we do here at Step Out and Thrive is we work mainly with Christian counselors, mental health professionals, pastoral care leaders, and a huge community of care because we want to teach radical care, which is different kind of care, which includes community because a lot of us are trying to do things alone, application because there's a lot of resources out there that nobody actually applies, resources because who doesn't need resources? We always do. And encouragement. Imagine that when you're in the thick of what you're doing with, and we know how you're showing up continually with everybody else and so many different people. We want to really encourage you here in the Step Out and Thrive community. So with that being said, here at the Radical Care for Christian Counselors podcast is yes, it's for counselors, but it's also for pastoral care leaders. It's also for moms and dads. It's for the tired and exhausted. It's for the missionaries. It's for those that are really wanting to go deeper in their everyday walk and their everyday walk with other people. So if that's you, welcome. We'd love for you to be here. And you are joining at such a cool day because June launches the brand new Step Out and Thrive community. So I'm so excited to learn more about this and how you can join our private community. And no, it is not on Facebook. So some people are like, yay, other people are like, boo, but I like privacy and I want a place that could be totally ours. And so if you would like to join, there is a free level. We'd love to have you there just to talk about these podcasts and give you a place where you can have your very own discussions about these topics that we mentioned. Go to BethanyBoring.com, BethanyBoring.com, and you can get connected and get started. But today is also the very first day of our summer challenge. And this year, we're focusing mainly on how in the world can we really stay grounded physically, emotionally, relationally, mentally, and really find rest this summer. And it sounds like such an easy thing because I think we all struggle with it, but how do we find balance? How do we find balance? And somebody said, Bethany, if you could find the answer to that, I would pay you $1 million. And I'm so sorry. I'm not going to answer that, but I am going to work with us together throughout the summer to really practice some very practical resource that I use every single day in my groups and in my personal life. And if you've been here long enough, you know that I rarely offer anything in my groups, and I definitely don't offer anything on here on this podcast that I haven't personally been involved with and I personally experienced. So during this summer, we're going to mention a couple, and I'm talking about 2 or 3 tops resources that you can practice on a daily basis that I think are the top resources that have helped me throughout the last couple of years, but also with clients and groups to one, really help calm the nervous system and calm me down as a facilitator, as a leader, as a coach, as somebody that needs to be present. Second of all, it does the same thing for the other people present. Like, I don't know about y'all, but sometimes you're rushing into a session or you're rushing into a group and you still have all the crud that you walk through. And I know we talk about this all the time on Sundays, but we're like, okay, guys, we're just going to leave the troubles. We're just going to leave the problems of the world outside these doors. Yeah, that's awesome to do. And yes, I want God to do that. But can we just take a minute and just really allow that to happen? I mean, do we ever like that doesn't just, okay, I'm going to allow it to happen. Boom. No, it takes practices in order to really do that and to really be present. And so the groups that I lead and the individual sessions that I lead, we give time to do that. But also it allows for me to really, during my quiet time, really prepare for my time to be with God. It really does. And is it easy to do sometimes? No. It is a challenge. And sometimes God has been treating me as like, Bethany, You don't always have to be sitting down to do this. You could be walking. You could be talking with your kids and do this at the same time with them. You could practice it with your kids. You could practice with somebody that didn't even know me. So these are the practices that are really going to stick with us this summer. And it's an invitation. If you want to practice and join with me in this, each week there'll be either a worksheet or a guide that you can get. You'll need to be part of the community to do that. Again, you'll have to do it at bethanyboring.com and you can grab that resource. And there'll be discussions going on during the week that you can be a part of. So if you're practicing along with us, you can be part of those discussions. How does this work? This didn't work for me. How about this week? And so you can build throughout your whole summer. You could be practicing along with us and with your kids, or maybe with your youth group, or maybe with your family, or maybe with people that you don't know. Whoever you practice with. This would be a great time to use it during the summer. So, with all of that, we're going to go into our first practice. And our first practice is all about relational circuits. Now, if you've ever heard of this or never heard of this or RCs, I'm not talking about remote control cars, although my kids would absolutely love it if I was. But the way I explain this to people is, how many times have you been in a group setting, maybe a party, maybe an event that you were really excited to be at, and you find yourself like somebody can even be sitting there talking to you and you're just like, I am not present in this conversation. Like, I know there's words coming out of their mouth, but I'm just like not here. Either you're disassociating or you're compartmentalizing or you're thinking about what you want to have for dinner or you're just not really engaged in that conversation. Well, that is a relational circuit issue that's going on. And at that point, it's either off or dim. One of those two things are going on. But a lot of times when I was experiencing this, yes, it was a result of a lot of other things going on in my life. But I was taking it to I'm like, what is wrong with me that I cannot be present for this other person? And yeah, I could take that and I could just run with that. Like, there's something so deeply messed up with me that I cannot be present with this other person that's trying to care for me. Yeah, you can see that spiral effect that happened with me during this conversation. And that was just with me, myself, and I. And isn't it funny how even though relational circuits with other people can be like off, that somehow there's always that stupid voice that's inside of us that we can always have a really good relationship with, right? No matter what. And so that voice of criticism has an ability to speak even in that mention. So, with all that being said, what are relational circuits? What is this on, off, dim part? Why is this so important? Well, in order to do a lot of this work that we want to be able to do, both with ourselves, but also with others, we have to be aware of where we are with our relational circuits. We have to be aware of what we're entering into, even at that present moment. Not everything's okay. We can even do a body scan of ourselves, and you've never heard that terminology. That's just an awareness of, how am I feeling right now? What is going on in my body right now? And you could be just doing a really quick scan and you can realize, something ain't right somewhere, right? You're never 100% perfect. So, with that being said, with stuff going on all around us and being aware of all of that, being still enough to be aware of all of that, that's when a relational circuits really come into the picture. It allows us to connect to others, it allows us to connect with God, and it definitely allows us to connect with ourselves. And it kind of has a way of pushing past some of those parts that want to take control, to want to fix, because that's a really easy sign that our relational circuits are off. We can push past that and go, no, 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 my relational circuits are coming back online. We're good. We can sit with these hard emotions right now. It's okay. It's a safe place. And so, with that being said, here's some signs that your relational circuits could be off, meaning that you're just offline, that you're physically exhausted, that you're tired. You don't have your relational circuits on. You are not thinking straight. So, to give yourself a little bit of grace. So, for instance, I just want to make a problem, a person, or a feeling to stop and go away or disappear. I don't know if you guys have reached that. I've reached that point with my kids, and I'm just like, I can't connect right now. I just need it to be fixed. That's another thing. I just want it to be fixed. I need it to be fixed right now. And I don't have time to really get into a relational conversation with you. I just need it to be done. Okay, that's just wait a second. Things are coming over. We're not in the best headspace right now. We're definitely not in that relational connection with anything right now. We're just system overload, so to speak. Our relational circuits are off. Another one that I mentioned to people is I just want to get away or fight or freeze. And so I've been over this before, and some of y'all know this, but your amygdala, the very beginning of your brain, your brainstem, is right here on the back of your neck, and you can almost feel it. It kind of connects to your head, so it's right in the back of your neck there. That is the brainstem. And so when you have your fight, flight, freeze, fawn, fix, all of those F words, sorry, I can never say that without laughing. But all of those are the very beginning of your brain. And so when those are triggered, here's the thing, you're staying right there. I don't know about y'all, but I have a whole lot more brain to be processed here that I'm not using because it's stuck right there. So that's a huge symptom of, wait a second, my whole brain isn't able to really function right now because it's stuck right there. Okay, I need my relational circuits back on. What do I need to do to help get my relational circuits back on so I can effectively deal relationally with this rather than just trying to get it away, rather than trying to fix it, rather than running from it? Do you guys see why this is so important now? Do you guys see why it's so easy to get in fights when there's two people and their amygdalas and they're not really even have their relational circuits on? Do you see why it's so important now when somebody says, I cannot, they're not kidding, I cannot have this conversation right now? They're not kidding. They really can't have that conversation right now. And I know what the other person is hearing is, I don't want to talk to you. So you can see what this is at. One person's trying to connect, another person's overloaded and doesn't even have their relational circuits on. You don't want to have that conversation. You do not want to have that conversation right then. And so now that we've talked a little bit about relational circuits being off, and you guys probably feel amazing out there, don't fear. It's all good. Can we just say how normal this is? This probably happens more in your everyday than you realize. And that is exactly what we're going to be talking about this week. And what your challenge is going to be this week is to be aware when your relational circuits are off, when your relational circuits are on, when your relational circuits might be going dim, and what you do. And it's not about fixing it, because again, if you're fixing it, if you're trying to fix it, where are you at? You're in your amygdala. So again, it's not allowing yourself to self-criticize or do anything really. You might do something just because you're aware of it out of response. But a lot of this is waiting until you get to the end of your day and going back and processing. Okay, where did I notice during today where my RCs were on or off or dim, and what did I see happen? And so you're going to be given a resource this week if you're in our community to help track that. Now, I'm not talking about analytical tracking, but it's more of just being an awareness, because I use this all the time in my groups because we're constantly becoming aware of new things. And so many times, if you're anything like me, it's like, well, great, I'm aware of all the stuff that I need to fix. Now what? You just feel overwhelmed, right? But in order to really do anything about it, we have to become aware of it. It's just like my kids going into the room and going, Mom, this is clean. I don't know what you're talking about. Meanwhile, there's underwear hanging from the ceiling fan. There's toys all around the room. I can't even see the carpet. I'm going, what? Do you not see what I see in here? So it's really until they become aware of the mess, they don't have the desire to clean it up. Kind of makes sense, right? So the awareness process is really that. It is a process, and we have to give our chance. We have to give our minds a chance. We have to give our emotions a chance. We have to give our RCs a chance to really see what's going on before we can really tackle what is there, and really have these hard conversations sometimes with God. Like, okay, God, what are you showing me right now in all of this? So with all that being said, how do we turn our relational circuits back on? Well, there's several different things that we can do. But for me, and one of the things that I'm going to really talk about this summer that we're going to practice together, two different things. One, interactive appreciation, which if you've been around Step Out and Thrive for any length of time, we've talked about that. And some of you guys are like, yes, 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 because I did a podcast, one episode about this a while ago, and that has been the most played episode of all of my episodes ever. And so I'm realizing, okay, there's obviously people that are interested in this. So we're going to talk a little bit more about it. And it's so easy, but yet it's also challenging too. So we're going to get more into that. But also, it's about sharing a fourfold story, meaning you can include all the areas of your brain, sharing a story with somebody else. So it's still more about appreciation, but also being able to hear back from God during all of this process as well. And so you can see this is going to be more of a step process, or maybe not even a step process, but more of like when I give you some weeks it might seem like a small challenge, other weeks it might seem like a huge. But there's different things that you can try on for size, and if it doesn't fit, maybe God will show you a new way to do it. All of this is to help your relational circuits get back online, to really be able to connect with God, others, and yourself. And we know we say that, I want to do that, but rarely do we really step back and go, okay, what is going on in my life? What is going on in my body right now that's prohibiting me from being able to connect with God, myself, and others? And how do I help that get back into that relational circuit online state? And so, with all of that being said, here's some other signs that you can do that when your relational circuits are off, how you can help them go back on again. Number two, you can just spend time by yourself. A lot of times it's deep breathing. And a lot of times I know we talk about this as grounding, which it is. We got the box breathing. You've got so many different techniques. We might even spend an episode on some of that, because a lot of people are like, breathing's dumb. Like, especially if you don't use it, you're like, I don't understand why that's so important. Well, here's the thing. When you're in your amygdala, your brain needs to know, I'm going to be okay. And a lot of the times when you can actually talk to your brain and say, hey, you're going to be okay. You can't just talk to it, go, hey, you're going to be okay. You need to calm your body down, because that sends a signal to your brain that, whoa, okay, we're going to be okay. And the easiest way to do that, you guessed it, is through deep breathing. So it's not just a bunch of whack. It really is true. It helps you get back online. It helps your brain to get the oxygen it needs. It helps slow your body down and get it regulated again so that you can become aware of what's going on. It helps. And another thing that's really simple, and I've done this so many times, I've even done this with my kids, don't. But a lot of times it's just food. Why do you think sharing dinners together is so important? It really does foster deeper connection. It really does. It turns on chemicals in the brain that allows you to have deeper connection, and sometimes it slows us down. In the world of fast food, real deeper conversations happen what? Around the table, when they're sharing a meal together, when they're stopping, when they're looking each other in the eye. It allows for that, but also you're sharing a same experience. A lot of time you're eating the same food, right? So you're sharing a similar experience. Even if you're smelling each other's food, you're sharing a similar experience together. And so, with that being said, that's part of it too. So, a lot of times when I want to have a deeper connection with my boys, they know we get Oreos and I put them on the table, and they know instantly they're they're ready to go. They pop an Oreo or two in their mouth, and we can go to a deeper level conversation. So, some of that helps. So, again, all of this is in the community. You can go check that out, the free resource for the week. And it's just a really easy way of, what does it look like my relational circuits are on, off, and dim. And then there's some curious questions that you can ask during this week. Okay, where did I notice this happening? What did I do in response to it? What do I want to do? What did I notice? So a lot of this is here. It'd be great if you did this with a group to maybe be in a great conversation together, and report back and let me know how it goes for you. So whew, this is kind of a longer episode than normal, but I want to make sure that you guys have your good foundation to be able to get started. And I'm so excited that you're here in the Radical Care for Christian Counselors podcast. Invite your friends to be part of this podcast this summer and enjoy the experience that we get to have together. So, as always, dare to do more than just this. Let's try that again. Dare to do more than just survive. Step out and thrive. I look forward to seeing you in the community. Get connected at bethanyboring.com and have an amazing week. See you guys later. Bye.